As for why I'm skeptical of it, it obviously starts with the words, but it ends with my experience. My experience was interviewing everyone from average folks to Sam Bankman-Fried and not coming up with very satisfactory answers as to what crypto is actually doing positively for the world.
Well, let me take you to the highest position in the land. That is to the President of the United States. Trump has a meme coin. He's had a dinner invitation recently, which depended on how much of that meme coin you bought.
By the way, apparently the meal was dreadful.
Apparently, exactly, and meat and potatoes, I think. The Trump family in the business of crypto exchanges, Trump Social moving to launch Bitcoin ETF. There's a Middle East crypto deal recently around Trump's stablecoin. Draw the dots on this. It suggests a veneer of legitimacy from the president. What does this mean in terms of adoption and what that is saying to average retail investors about following Trump down this track into crypto?
Well, right. I mean, it's the Wild West again. We're back to an era where anything goes. As for drawing the dots, I mean, I don't think it's much of a dot thing. I think it's just a straight line from money into his pocket. Real money, of course, because these cryptocurrencies are bought with real money. There was a particular individual, Justin's son, who was profiled in the book, who had a lawsuit. The SEC was suing him for fraud, and he invested millions of dollars in Trump coin and in World Liberty Financial, and the SEC lawsuit was dropped weeks later.
Ben, despite the skepticism, and I share your skepticism, I would like to think I've been in the financial markets for over 30 years. I traded derivatives for 11 years. I can't work out the financial case for a valuation, whether it's worth $1 or whether it's worth $1 million. And that's where I come in on this one. I just can't value this product as well. Why do you think it continues to go up and continues to get celebrity endorsements, and you're one of the few celebrities who've actually been on the other end of it, and actually you've had a lot of vitriol because of that as well, and is now getting some institutional endorsement as well? What do you think is going on with the momentum on this?
Well, in terms of why Wall Street is interested, they can make money off of it, right? I mean, they're
that simple. It's not that they have any faith in it. It's purely about selling to clients.
Yes. You mean the democratized, decentralized future of money is brought to you by BlackRock. Now, they're selling you ETFs, giving you exposure to Bitcoin. Now, of course, they don't actually hold the Bitcoin. They're just facilitating the trade. So in terms of Wall Street, that's what it's about, money, the real kind, not the fake kind. And in terms of, the overall popular sentiment, I mean, I think that's a trickier question to answer. One of the answers to that is that Bitcoin is a story, and quite a powerful story. It's the story, at least initially, was that it was a response to all of the horrors of the regulated financial sector and all the mistrust of the banks. It was born out of the subprime crisis, things like that. What's fascinating about crypto is that it's come full circle. Now it's actually being sold by Wall Street, right? So if you were fighting against the banks and this horrible financial infrastructure, then why are you so desperate to have it traded as an ETF, to get it into the government, things like that?
Ben, you're a great storyteller, and I'm told it is actually competitive. I'm really looking forward. It comes out tomorrow, doesn't it?
Yes, it premieres tomorrow, yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing it as well. But in any great story, and you know this better than anyone as well, you need an ending as well. Do you get to...
I think you're going to say a villain.
Well, yes.
Well, I've got that.
Well, the villain, well, you've already mentioned one or two of them, perhaps. Not naming any names. But I mean, without wishing to, kill the surprise. Do you get to a conclusion of where you think this is going to go?
Yes. I mean, by the end of the film, I've documented quite clearly my experience with it, which was utterly ludicrous. I've gone to the only country in the world that's supposedly using it as money. No one's using it. I've interviewed everyone up to Sam Bankman-Fried who can't answer a basic question like, what does cryptocurrency do?
You interviewed him just before his arrest.
Yeah, months before, and as well as another fraudster named Alex Mashinsky. So you've seen in the film, by the end of it, my experience with it. And at the end, I conclude, I think I was as right as I hoped I would be, if not more so, and yet I had less of an effect. I think at the end of the day, the animal spirits, right, the sort of the popular sentiment is an uncontrollable thing, and people get fascinated by all sorts of things. But just because, to your point about not being able to ascribe a valuation or a price to it, it's what anyone is willing to pay for it. But because there is no real asset underneath it, it's really greater fool theory, in my opinion. It's just sort of, at some point it will collapse, can't say when. and then we'll all have to deal with the cleanup.
To the point around that, I mean, I was talking to an FX trader recently who was saying he won't clear the funds until it is actually cleared in the backdrop. He won't just lend out against crypto, but he doesn't want the holding risk, right? Which does tell you something about how the industry feels about crypto. I know the ECB has also been looking at stability risks, and that is because of the retail ownership. It's about financial institutions, about the private money getting involved. They don't really know what the risks look like. What sort of warning signs do you think are there for the central banks, whether it's the ECB or the Federal Reserve?
Right. Well, actually, I wrote an article for Slate about this a couple of weeks ago. I think crypto could, in the future, cause a future banking crisis, not dissimilar from the subprime crisis. A professor at American University has written about this, Hillary Allen, and there's some similarities. Rigidity, complexity. The crypto system is quite brittle because of the blockchain technology underneath it. You can't reverse a transaction, right? The append-only ledger works only in one direction. And then these are complex, sort of opaque instruments. And then, of course, liquidity. At the end of the day, what is the actual dollar amount or pound amount, euro amount? What are the actual currencies that have the trust of governments behind them that are underlying these fictitious currencies? How much actual money is there? Very little. There's a lot of leverage. Or at least there certainly was in 2021, 2022 when I started looking into it. So you combine those factors, leverage, rigidity, complexity, and the system's quite brittle. And when it breaks hard, and that's exactly what happened in the subprime crisis.